3 wide. 3 wide across there. Pick those couple of bales up now so they're not in your way. Yeah. That one there, the one behind there, that one. And then build it 3 wide and then build it that way up the track, all right? Yeah. We'll see you in to make your wall so you don't knock them over, all right? Ha! We know what you're like. Nice bales, aren't they? There should be about 580 kilos in these bad boys. Isn't it, Todd, roughly? What were you getting the other day when you had to go on the baler? 540, yeah? Quite dry? Yeah. What, sort of 10%? Yeah, we didn't check it, but yeah. Yeah. So, Genesis Biomass, my other company, other than 5 counties, this is, this straw is all being used for AD, for Pretoria Energy. So they're making gas, producing gas out of straw. So it goes into like a pre-treatment before it's put into the digester where the bugs break it down. So 3 years ago, Richard and Steve came to me and said, we want to take your straw on for a job we've got. So I was like, fair enough. And then we got talking Christmas 2021, and I said, how do you feel about doing a joint venture? And they hadn't really given it any thought. They just thought they were going to buy my straw by the ton. And I said to them, well, I'd like to do a joint venture and, you know, be part of the bigger picture. So we set up a business which is called Genesis Biomass, like I was saying earlier. In year 1, we ran 5 Krone 8 stringers, and we also bought 2 Heath chasers and 2 tran stackers. Tonight we've got 2 of our QM Heath chasers here at the moment, chasing up behind 2 of the Krones. Unfortunately, Todd here is broken down at the moment, so we're just waiting for a phone call on what we think might be wrong. We found a loose wire in the control box in the joystick, wasn't it, Todd? Yeah, in the joystick. So we're just waiting for some advice to see what that could be, whether it's anything to do with a circuit board in there or whatever. Then last year, 2023, we purchased another 7 Krone 8 stringers because we needed to ramp the job up. So we currently got 12 8 stringers and 10 chasers, of which we bought a Heath CTF controlled traffic farming chaser to add to the 2 tran stackers, and we purchased another 5 Heath QM chasers, and then 2024, which we're in now, and this current harvest, we're still running the same amount of balers because the plant's just got going, so we didn't need to increase the amount we were baling each year. Straw yields on spring crops are better than what they would be in a normal year because of the moisture that's been about. Winter crops is varied. If the crop went in a good condition, we're doing anywhere from sort of like 3 bales to 4 bales an acre, which is 10 a hectare, which is very good income for the farmers. We don't just purchase the straw by the bale. We also do what we call muck for straw deals as well. So some farmers will have, you know, we'll do a deal where we either bring back liquid digestate and apply it on their farm, or we deliver solid digestate back to replace nutrient value removed from the straw, but is also helping the farmers with organic matter back in the soil, you know, and also helping with soil microbes because it's an organic fertilizer rather than a compound. The digestate that we're applying is maize, sugar beet and whole crop based feed, which goes into the plant, so then it comes out the back end, and then hence why we have a solid product and a liquid product, because it gets separated. Typically the maize based digestate that we're spreading in a liquid form is around about 3 kilos of available nitrogen, NH4. Total will be about 4.2, 4.4. Your phosphates will be about 2.4. Potassium, which is your K, that will be a bit higher. That will generally be about 4.5, which on the type of soil where we're baling here today, you know, on this sort of like stony, you know, a bit more loamier soil is quite K hungry compared to a clay soil. So the product is very good for that. Hasn't got quite the organic matter that, it's obviously got organic matter, but not as high percentages as what the solid digestate's got. The solid digestate is not quite as high in N, but it's a lot higher in K, and the P is about the same as in the liquid, but the K is about 5.5 kilos available. And then you've got sulphur, which tends to hang around about 1 to 1.2 kilos per tonne or per cube of liquid. So yeah, it's a very good way of applying good fertiliser, natural fertiliser, organic to the soil, because at the end of the day, the soil is what grows your crops, your straw, you know, produces food for the UK and, you know, Europe generally. Rather than buying in compound fertilisers. I mean, in the future, potentially, you know, we could get some sort of carbon credits and things for using digestates. It hasn't quite come to the market yet because it's a bit unknown, but if you're reducing sort of your carbon footprint by not importing in compound fertilisers, and you're, you know, this is not, it's not classed as a waste product, but it's actually a product because the digestate, if it's like a food waste that's either been through pasteurisation, which is a different form of AD, but you can apply that to the land as well. So pasteurisation or plant-based products like maize, sugar beet, whole crop, grass is classed as a product which is PAS 110, which is certified product to be applied to the ground, to the soil, you know, to the crops. Whereas something that hasn't gone through pasteurisation, so a food waste or anything like that, that hasn't gone through pasteurisation, could potentially have harmful bacteria in to humans or whatever. So you have to get a deployment to spread that. But fortunately, we don't deal in any of these products. Everything we do has a PAS 110 certification. So yeah, I mean, as far as the straw goes, you know, the plant has just got up and running. They're sort of like about a year. Where we are today is where we were hoping to be a year ago, and that's just down to redesigning some machinery for processing the straw. You know, now the UK's come out of Europe, you know, with Brexit and everything. The biggest problem's been getting equipment into the country through customs and all of that, with the added paperwork of having come out of Europe. But we are where we are. We've had a few stressed out farmers. My phone doesn't stop ringing with people. Got straw on farm, want it moved, which is completely understandable, but you know, we're very appreciative that farmers are working with us, you know, going forward, and we need them more than probably they need us. But with the digestates and everything that we can offer back, as well as either paying for the straw by the bale, you know, it's a bit of give and take. They've got something we want, we've got something they want, and hopefully going forward we can all work together to produce energy out of straw. And maybe there'll be some added benefits, like I said, with the carbon going forward for farmers, to make them carbon neutral. But that is obviously in the making. So today here we've got my guys from, you know, Coxalls. They're pulling two of Genesis's balers here and two of Genesis's chasers. So typically what happens is I run 3 8-stringers south of Cambridge, and I run 2 chasers. We've got 2 full-time staff on balers and 1 Kiwi girl called Sam. She's joined us 3 weeks ago along with her other half, Todd, who's on a chaser with Will, who's another full-time member of staff. But Sam and Todd, who have come over from New Zealand, they've been working up in Scotland, and they came down to us about 3 weeks ago, I think. They've got on very well. They're very, you know, got a lot of experience. Sam, Todd's girlfriend, she's actually training to be a diesel mechanic back home in New Zealand. Todd's got a family business back home. They're contractors and farmers, so he's used to the baling. So yeah, so that's what we do. So Coxalls then basically is paid by the Bale to pull a baler, paid by the Bale to pull a chaser, and then all the balers that are north of Cambridge are all pulled by Pretoria Energy's tractors, and they're exactly the same. They pull a baler and chaser for Genesis and are paid by the Bale for each operation, what they do. So basically, as Genesis, what we did was is to save on having to find lots of staff, either hire or buy tractors to pull our machinery. We basically took my company and Pretoria Energy's company and said, right, split the balers out to what we need in the area. These two companies can then use full-time members of staff which are more experienced, you know, more reliable, to come in and pull the machinery for our straw harvest each year. And it does work very well, to be fair, because I use my tractors, for instance, they'll go on digestate in the spring, either pulling tankers, umbilical work, stirring lagoons, pumping digestate, a whole manner of things, whether it be also pulling land down for sugar beet, maize, anything like that really.
Hello all, my name's Ivan, I'm 21, I work for Tom, and we are currently just behind Duxford War Museum baling some oat straw at the minute. We are in one of our new all black Fendt 939s with a Krone 1290 HDB2 baler. We're lucky enough to have one of the newer balers. Well, it was new to us last year. Our balers have got one of the new fancy hydraulic fans, which I think personally they are quite a good bit of kit. They do keep the knotter unit, you know, nice and tidy. Keeps, you know, most of the dust off the baler off. So at the minute we have 3 balers running. So we obviously have me and Jack on 939s, and then Sam, who is driving our 942. As you can see, we're in one of the new Gen 7 cabs. Obviously we've got the new screen up the top here, which is quite handy because we've got our cameras put on there, so we can see what's going on in the back in case we get a problem or anything like that. So that's quite a nice handy feature. It also sort of pops away, tucks out the way, so when you don't want it in your way. Obviously we've got the all new joystick, all new armrest, so everything that you see on here is programmable and you can have it to however you like it. It's all personal preference really. Obviously handy feature about the new joystick, I feel sits in your palm quite nice and comfortably. It's not as chunky as the old gens where, you know, sometimes you have to sort of reach across to flick your spool or something like that. So today there is only me and Sam running the balers, along with Todd and Will on the chasers. They are currently at one of our customers down sort of near sort of North London way, sort of Cockfosters, Potters Bar way. They are over there chasing bales. There's a nice little 300 acre block. Me, Jack and Todd baled for them, so they're cracking on with that at the minute. Jack's unfortunately had a breakdown last night, so his baler is currently in the process of being sorted out, back up and running. So far I've done 305 bales, would have been more, but obviously we had quite a lot of rain overnight, which then caused us to have a little bit of a late start this morning by the time the straw dried out and got down to the right moisture content. But we are away now, and hopefully we'll get another good couple of hours in front of us before we get a stop put on us. So I have been with Tom since the start of the year. Personally, I really enjoy it here. It's a nice place to work for. All of us lads, we get on, have a joke and a laugh, along with getting the job done, of course. As Wiz would say, if you're on the job, do a proper job. So, sort of for me at the minute, obviously I'm on the baler for harvest, which I'm quite lucky to be on. Because last year I ran a chaser. I had a little discussion with Tom. Basically said that I'd like to change it around a bit and have a season on a baler. You know, learn the baler and get the hang of that. Just sort of, you know, get my experience up a bit more. Normally I would be on the Veen House, the Rotamax, with Wiz, Tom's brother. So I'll be there making sure that he's up and running, getting all the pipes, the pump, stirring the lagoon, making sure that's all ready to go for him, kind of thing. Help him out if he has a problem. I've also been driving the tanker recently, while Miroslav was off work while he had his baby. So that was quite interesting. It's quite a nice job driving a tanker. It's, you know, nice and steady. You're not too flat out. So with the digestate, while I was on the tanker, that's run with a Fendt 939 as well, and a Samsung PG2 28 cube tanker, 36 metre booms. So that job runs off of lorries. So we have our own lorries which Tom runs, and then we also have a few subcontractors that come in, help out as well. So they will go straight to the AD plant and take digestate out of there. There's quite a few around the area. We've got Bygrave on the 505, Refoods down in Dagenham. There's a plant in Hoddesdon, so they will all run out of there and then deliver that straight to the field where the tanker works its magic and spreads it and gets the job done. So in the winter time, I would just sort of get around and just sort of do bits and bobs here, there and everywhere. All depends what we got on. You know, sometimes we might have quite a lot on that we need to crack on with, and sometimes it might be pretty quiet where we're all in the yard, you know, tidying the yard up, making sure that the workshop's all tidied up, everything's where it needs to be, checking over kit, ready for the following season, getting that all prepared and ready. You know, last winter I was doing, well, I wouldn't say a fair bit of estate maintenance, but there was a little bit involved. There was a block of land in Dunmow that Tom took on that needed quite a bit of a tidy up. So I spent quite a few weeks up there with Graham, as I'm sure you've all met. Me and him were there on the diggers, cracking on with tree shearing, you know, clearing everything up, burning all the brush away, and then there was a little bit rough, yeah. There was quite a few weeks of ditching, so going around, getting all the ditches dug out nicely, finding out where all the land drains are, getting them unblocked and running again. So that was quite a nice job to keep busy with. That is all in Sugar Bee at the minute, which last time when I saw it, I personally thought it was doing quite well. So I'm sure it's progressed quite a way up to now. So far this season, myself, I have done about 7,000 bales so far, roughly around that figure. Not too sure yet. Need to have a good calculation first, because we write all of our bale numbers into a book, just for pure record keeping, so we know how many bales we've baled at each customer, where the bales are and that sort of stuff. Same with the chaser drivers, they all keep a record of where the stacks are, and that sort of stuff. Obviously, where I was driving the tanker, I was a little bit late coming into baling, so Jack and Sam have already started off the season without me, which is absolutely fine. So I've only been on here for about 3 weeks now. So it's a little bit more of a shared workload. We're getting through it, kind of thing. Roughly in an average day, all weather dependent. Really, all depends how many bales you get out. You know, if it's nice weather, you know, sun is out shining, you know, we'd like to aim and leave the yard by sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock kind of thing. Get out the yard, start pumping bales out. Roughly get about 750 to 800 bales a day. That's obviously weather dependent again on moisture, which we'll jump out in a minute and double check what the moisture is sitting at. Earlier when I pulled into the field, I done a moisture check and we were sat at 11.5%, which is good. We don't we don't want anything over 15. Obviously sometimes we might go a little bit over that. Again, weather dependent, and of course if the big boss approves. Obviously, you know, all depends as well, you know, on diesel and string. So, you know, sometimes we'll pull back into the yard with, you know, our diesel light flashing because, you know, we've been at it and tried to get as much done as we could, but physically, if you have no diesel, you're not going to get very far. Obviously with the strings, roughly around 550 bales we get out and double check the string box, make sure that the top knot of string is still, that there's still plenty left there. If not, we'll top it up, have a quick walk around the baler and stuff like that, just double check that everything's, you know, still okay. Have a look at, you know, something that you can't see out the cab. When we get back to the yard, normally we like to blow down the night before, hensely just because you're going to get covered in dust, so may as well get covered at it when you're going home and you get to have a shower instead of doing it the next morning and then you're just sat here absolutely itching because you're just covered in dust and crap. So we like to get ready as much as we can the night before, obviously all depending, you know, what time we get back. If it's really late and we're really tired, we'll do it sometimes in the morning. So here we are, we're just gonna go and check the moisture, make sure that is where it needs to be, and then hopefully it is going to be under 15 and we'll be able to carry on. So we're just going to probe that in there, and then if Matthew wants to come and zoom in once it comes back up again, it is at 12.5, which is perfect. So that's where it needs to be. So we are going to crack on and get this field done.